I started taking creatine at 15 years old, and today I'm going to talk about what benefits and also what disadvantages I noticed from taking it at such a young age. But before I get into that, I just want to explain a little bit what creatine is. Creatine is a compound that your body produces itself, and it's also found in things like meat and fish, but in very small amounts. Creatine helps improve performance during short duration, high intensity exercise like sprinting or weightlifting. When you take creatine, it makes your muscles hold more water inside of them, making them look a little bit fuller and bigger. For most people, 3 to 5 grams of creatine every day will be sufficient. But if you're a larger person, say 185 pounds and above, you could benefit from and probably should take upwards towards 10 grams a day or even more. The main benefits of creatine are increased lean muscle mass, increased strength, improved recovery, and improved cognitive performance. Now the question is, why does it have these effects? This part of the video is pretty boring, so if you don't care about the explanation, you can just skip forward a couple of seconds. I'm gonna have to read this because I do not know all of this information off the top of my head. We generate energy using a molecule called ATP, or adenosine triphosphate. When ATP gives off its energy, it loses a phosphate group, turning it into ADP, or adenosine diphosphate. Creatine is able to recharge the ADP by replacing its phosphate, turning it back to ATP that your body can use for energy. So basically, more creatine in your muscles allows you to train harder for longer. And creatine is also used as fuel for the brain, which is why it improves cognitive performance. Now let me tell you a little story. When I started taking creatine, I was already making okay progress. I was 15 years old and my reps were going up at best every other week. I did not do a loading phase, so I just hopped straight onto the 5 grams a day dose. And I was told it would take about 30 days for my muscles to get saturated with the creatine, and then I would notice the benefits. So of course the first couple of days I didn't really notice anything and I didn't really feel any different. The only thing was I was gaining a little bit of weight day by day, very slowly. And then after about 30 days I started noticing some more benefits. I noticed I had more energy towards the end of my workouts, and my muscles were looking a bit fuller and bigger. And I also started making better progress. I started going up in reps and or weight almost every single exercise on almost every single workout. And I'm still making that kind of progress today. So those were all the benefits that I noticed from taking creatine. But of course there are some negatives. So I just first want to start off with saying that I personally have not noticed any side effects, any negative side effects from taking creatine. But from all the research which I have done, but then you can't know like how much of that is just genetics and how much of that is just getting older. So yeah, at least from the research which I have done, I haven't really found any evidence to support that creatine can make you lose your hair. So I really wouldn't worry about it too much if I were you. Another side effect of taking creatine, which I don't really know if you could call it a negative, but when you take creatine, you have to drink more water. Because as I said earlier, when you take creatine, it makes your muscles hold more water inside of them. But if you don't drink more water, there's no water for your muscles to hold inside of them. So when you take creatine, you will have to increase your water intake. But for most people, 2 liters of water minimum per day should be enough. You don't have to go crazy and drink like 5 liters of water a day, because you probably don't need that much unless you're a very large person. But yeah, just make sure to like drink water with your meals. You don't have to go crazy with it and force down a bunch of water all the time. But just like for example, I have this thing. This is a 2-liter water bottle. And I just fill this up in the morning, and then I make sure to finish it by the end of the day. And then I've hit my 2 liters of water per day, and then I, in theory, should be good. So it's not as hard. 2 liters of water actually isn't that much water. So yeah, that's what you need, at least in my opinion, to be safe. But besides from those two side effects, and I don't even know if you could count the second one as a side effect, I haven't really found any other negatives or side effects during the research which I have done. And from what I've learned, overall, creatine has been shown to have next to zero side effects. But if you are debating taking creatine yourself, I would still recommend you do your own research. Now, this was something which I was worried I was when I started taking creatine. And that is that some people are what's called non-responders to creatine. A non-responder will not really see any benefits from taking creatine, or it could just be that they are a non-responder to the regular 5 grams per day dose, so they might need to take more. If you're a non-responder to creatine, it really just depends on how much creatine you are consuming in your diet. So if you eat a lot of red meat, which is very high in creatine compared to other foods, you might not see as big of a benefit of supplementing with creatine, because your creatine stores in your muscles are probably already a bit higher than the average person. And the second one is, of course, genetics. Some people have genes or a gene which makes their body very inefficient at utilizing creatine. So some people who have this gene have to take upwards towards 30 grams of creatine per day to see the same benefits that other people would from just taking 5 grams a day. So if you are worried that you have one of these genes, I would recommend you consult with your doctor or something, because I'm not gonna give you medical advice on what to do, because I am not a medical professional. But of course you can't forget that everyone's body is different and everyone will respond a little bit differently to creatine. So some people will notice more side effects, some people won't notice any side effects like me, some people will notice a huge difference when they take it, and some people will notice hardly any difference at all. But with that being said, that is the end of the video, guys. If you liked it, then don't forget to click the like button, and if you want to support my channel, then definitely don't forget to click the subscribe button. But with that being said, I'll see you boys in the next one.